Welcome to Everyday Yoga. For those who don't know, my name is Christine and my pronouns are she and her. And this is going to be a restorative yoga practice, very gentle, perfect for beginners. We're going to start in a comfortable seat today, but like I said, you can be sitting on your bed or even on your couch or on a chair for this first part if you like. I am sitting on a pillow to elevate my hips. And you can come into a Sadasana position with one heel in towards the groin and then the second heel sort of in front of and stacked on top of the first. This allows the knees to come all the way down evenly. But if you prefer just a regular cross-legged position, go ahead and do that, or you can be seated with the legs out in front of you. So lots of options. Find whatever is comfortable for your body and supports your practice today. And once you have found that nice, comfortable seat, let's just take a moment here to notice the breath. It is the best way to anchor yourself into the present moment, is to just notice what's going on in your breath and in your body. If you hear any background noises here, I am teaching from my home and my cat is meowing and neighbors are outside dealing with their yards. So I apologize for any of that, but any sounds that you hear either on your side of the camera or mine, just notice them and dismiss them and let them go. And we'll just bring our focus maybe to the tips of the nostrils, both of them. And bring your awareness there, maybe with your eyes closed if that feels comfortable to you, or maybe just taking a soft gaze. And just see if you can notice the airflow as you inhale and exhale from your nostrils. Just bringing your awareness to that movement, that breath. And just let go of everything that's happened so far today. And invite yourself to be here in this present moment where you are safe, you're supported physically by your mat, verbally by me. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide. And just notice the connection of your lower body to whatever support you're sitting on. So if you're in a chair, you might notice the soles of your feet on the floor. You might notice your sit bones, your thighs in contact with your support that you're sitting on. Just bring your awareness down into the body and out of the clouds of the mind and the brain, and just anchor it right here in the body. And whenever thoughts come up that are not of this practice, just notice them and don't judge yourself. Just gently let them go, because thoughts will come up. Just invite yourself to come back to the body. We're going to cultivate a nice balanced breath here, just to support our parasympathetic nervous systems, to invite that calming, restorative process in our bodies to start to happen. So as you inhale, you might count to yourself how long it takes to inhale. It might be 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5, it doesn't matter. But our goal here is just to see what it is, and then see if we can match the length of the exhale to the inhale. So maybe you might inhale for 1, 2, 3. Then you might exhale for a count of 1, 2, 3. And again, it doesn't matter what it is. Just whatever feels natural and supportive for you. We'll just find 5 balanced breaths like that, moving with your breath in your count. Just letting those shoulders be soft away from the ears as you breathe. Maybe relaxing the jaw, relaxing the skin of the forehead. Just a couple more breaths here. Coming back into balance in the body after the busyness of the day. And once you've found those 5 breaths, let's just make some gentle circles here with the nose. So just as if you had a pencil at the end of your nose and a paper right out in front of your gaze, and you just want to draw some little circles. Doesn't matter which direction, because we're going to switch directions. Just around and around. Maybe the circles stay nice and small. Maybe they get a little bit bigger. Maybe the chin comes down to the chest, and maybe the gaze goes up towards the sky and the throat opens a little bit here. And when it feels natural to you, go ahead and reverse the circles. Maybe slowing down even more. Just noticing any snaps, crackles, pops in the neck. As long as they're not painful, it's just the joints moving around. A little bit of controversy there as far as if that's gases in there or tissue or ligaments stretching across the ends of the bones there. Whatever it is, though, it does move that synovial fluid around. And let's just bring the chin to the chest after lubricating those joints in the neck. We'll just draw the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Just stay here for a couple of your balanced breaths, getting a nice stretch on the left side of the neck. Again, relaxing those shoulders and relaxing the jaw. And the next time you exhale, bring the chin down to the chest, and we'll inhale the left ear over towards the left shoulder. We'll just get a nice stretch here in the right side of the neck. As you find those balanced breaths again, whatever your count is. Just breathing nice and slow. And the next time we inhale, we'll bring the chin back down to the chest. And then we'll bring the head back up to the top of the spine. And if you're seated in a cross-legged position, go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. We're going to balance out the hips here. We're not going to be sitting here much longer, just long enough to balance everything out. We're going to take the hands and interlace the fingers so that the tops of the hands are upward towards the sky and the elbows are drawing out to either side. Palms are facing down, and we're just going to bring the backs of the hands, the fingers, up underneath the chin here. Find your nice tall spine, and with your balanced breath, we're going to inhale and lift the head, using the hands to kind of draw the chin upward. And then as we exhale, we're going to drop the chin and draw those elbows towards one another. So we'll inhale, lifting the gaze, lifting the chin, lifting the elbows, opening the heart. And exhale, chin towards the chest, elbows coming in towards one another. And just keep moving here like this with your breath. Getting some nice shoulder opening here if you've been sitting at your computer all day or engaged in some other work, you likely have kind of had this hunched over position, maybe without even realizing it. So we're going to counteract all of that. And we're going to find one more in each direction here. Inhaling to come up towards the sky. Exhaling to release chin towards chest, elbows draw in towards one another. And then we'll go ahead and release the hands here. And let's just loop the shoulders up and back and down. Up and back and down. And then let's come to the knees. Go ahead and move your support aside if you've been sitting on a blanket or a pillow or something. And we're going to counteract some of the wrist movements that we do throughout the day. And you can be sitting on your heels in hero's pose, or you can take the feet out or the knees out wide and the big toes together. Either way, we're going to bring the palms down to the mat. We're not going to be up in a tabletop because we don't want to put any weight in the wrists. But we do want to put the palms down, and we're just going to kind of rock back and forth here a little bit. So maybe lifting up off the heels and then coming back towards them, just getting some movement here in the wrists. So you control how far forward and how far back you come, whatever feels good in the forearms. And then we're going to go side to side a little bit. And again, you can control here how much pressure is in the palms. Doesn't have to be very much. And then we're going to point the hands out towards the sides and rock back and forth from here. Moving from side to side. Counteracting all the work with our devices today. And you might even rotate the fingers towards the knees and rock back and forth here and get a nice stretch along the inner part of the forearm. We'll just nice and slow. And if you find a spot that feels particularly good and you want to just hold that in stillness, definitely take advantage of that. We'll just stay here for a little bit longer. Find just milking whatever felt really, really good for you. And then we're going to take the fists together like this. So curling the hands in on themselves. Thumbs can be outside the fist. And we're going to bring the fists together. You know, I don't know if anybody else remembers the Wonder Twins where they had to Wonder Twin powers activate. Maybe I'm an old reference here, but we're going to bring the backs of the hands with the fists together down to the mat, and we can bend the elbows and stretch across the tops of the forearms here, and then straighten the elbows and notice how that changes the sensation in the forearm. This can be really, really good for the wrists and the elbows here too. So we'll just find a couple more. And again, you can keep moving dynamically here. Or if you find a spot that feels particularly good, you can go ahead and hold that here. Just take one more nice big balanced breath. And then we'll go ahead and release. And we'll just make some gentle circles here with the wrists in one direction and then in the other. And then we'll come into a child's pose. So again, these can be wide if you want to get more of a sensation of opening up the hips. If you want more of a back opener, more support for the low back, you can bring the legs parallel here. We're going to start in an extended child's pose. So starting sitting on the heels, we're going to tuck those toes under and press the heels back toward the back edge of your mat. And we're going to tent those fingertips out in front of us and just kind of draw the heart down towards the earth here.
You might bring your forehead to a pillow or a block, or the forehead might come all the way down to the mat. And we're just going to open up through the shoulders here, just kind of melting the heart downward, getting nice and long in the side body. Take 2 more of those balanced breaths here. And then when you're ready, we'll untuck the toes, come up to tabletop, just enough to tap out those feet. And then this time we will take the knees wide, bring those big toes together. And we're gonna put that left hand right underneath the gaze, just underneath your face. And we're gonna take the right fingers and we're gonna draw them up the inside of the left arm, kind of like you're pulling back the bow of a bow and arrow. And you'll come across that left shoulder and then the collarbones and then the right shoulder, and then reach that right hand all the way up towards the sky. You can keep looking down towards your hand on the mat, or you might gaze out in front of you, or you might look up at that hand that's reaching upwards. Whatever feels good in your neck here, but keep the neck tucked so that the neck is nice and long. One more inhale here, reach up as high as you can, wiggle those fingers. And as you exhale, we're going to draw that right arm behind the left and bring the right shoulder all the way down to your mat, coming to the right shoulder, the right temple. And we're just going to stretch that left arm out nice and long here first and let those hips be heavy. You can keep that extension in the left hand, or you might want to draw the left forearm across the right and sort of anchor it down to the mat here. And just find your balanced breath, opening up behind the shoulders. As you inhale, notice how that back body expands. As you exhale, see where else you can soften, softening the jaw, the fingers, the hips. One more full breath here. And then as you inhale, we'll press back up into the palms. And we'll take that right hand underneath the gaze now. Let's draw those fingertips up the inside of the right arm, just really tracing along the arm and across the shoulders and reaching up towards the sky. And we'll find a couple breaths here in this twist, counteracting all the folding forward of the day. Opening up through the heart, taking that gaze wherever it feels good in your neck. One more inhale as you reach just any amount higher up towards the sky and wiggle those fingers. And then we'll dive down with that left hand coming underneath the right, left shoulder, left temple coming down to the mat. We'll send that right arm out long here to start with. Take a nice full breath here and either keep the extension in the right arm or bring it back to anchor across the left, and just kind of gently allow these arms to hold each other here. Close the eyes if that feels comfortable to you. Let those hips be heavy. Breathe into that low back. Breathe into the hips. When I say that, I mean like imagine you've got balloons around any areas of tension. And as you inhale, imagine you're expanding the balloon. And as you exhale, you're releasing and relaxing any areas that need it. Next inhale presses us all the way back up, coming into our tabletop once again. And then we'll go ahead and send that left leg out long behind us. And we'll just kind of rock back and forth here a little bit. Just getting a little bit of a stretch here in the calf, and you can continue to move here, or you might find some stillness pressing back into that left heel. Take another breath here. And then we'll go ahead and set that left knee down, and we'll send the right leg back. And again, just rock back and forth here gently, pressing into that heel. Maybe holding some stillness here, getting a nice stretch across the back of the calf. And then we'll go ahead and drop the elbows gently down to where the palms are. Have those forearms and the index fingers parallel to one another. And we're just going to kind of walk the knees back a little bit, coming into happy puppy pose. Or Anahata Asana is the Sanskrit term for that pose. We're just going to draw the heart down towards the earth and lift the tailbone up towards the sky and kind of press back towards those hips and open up across the chest, across the triceps, opening up across the heart. When we open up the heart, the blood can flow easier, the lungs can function better, giving all those internal organs some space to function. Next time we inhale, we'll go ahead and shift forward and bring the thighs and the hips down to the mat, coming into Sphinx Pose. And if this is tough on the low back, you can take the feet out a little bit wider. And if you want a little bit more sensation, you can bring the feet a little closer to one another. We're going to press into those elbows, and we're going to kind of draw that heart forward as you traction the arms back, pressing into the elbows and lifting the neck up out of the shoulders, tucking that chin, gazing down towards the earth. And we're just opening up through that low back. You might want to look back over your right shoulder, getting a little bit more of a stretch here on the left side of the neck. And then maybe look back over that left shoulder, getting just a little bit different stretch in the right side of the neck. And then we'll go ahead and come back to center. And then let's press up into a tabletop pose. Not going to be here for very long. We're just going to go ahead and come up to a high kneeling and step that left leg out in front. Coming to a nice low lunge here. Now, if you have yoga blocks and you want to bring the floor a little closer to you, this is a good place for them. You can kind of walk that front foot back or out a little bit, or maybe tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee just enough to send it back a little farther, getting more of a hip opening here in this nice low lunge. Breathing here. Yeah, again, like me, if you've been sitting a lot today, this opens up this hip flexor here. It's also where we store a lot of stress. So when we're stressed out, our bodies get into this kind of self-protective mode and everything contracts. And so when we can breathe deeply and open those contracted spaces, we give a signal to that parasympathetic nervous system that it's a good time to heal, to digest, to rest, to restore. One more breath here. And then we're just going to shift the hips back over that back knee.
Finding extension through the front leg, pointing the tips up towards the sky. Maybe finding a nice flat back here. Inhaling, drawing that heart forward. And exhaling to come any amount closer to that left leg. Getting a nice big stretch, maybe in the hamstrings, maybe in the calf, maybe in the low back. Next inhale shifts us back forward again, and we're just gonna draw that left leg back and step the right leg forward. And you can keep your lunge nice and high like this, or you can inch that front foot out farther and pick up that back knee and set it back a little farther, opening up in your lunge, keeping it nice and low here, and just sinking those hips down. Finding that balanced breath that you created for yourself and just breathing. Again, imagine you've got a balloon there right at the hip crease on that left side. And as you inhale, you're expanding that balloon, lengthening, stretching. And as you exhale, you're letting go of all the tension, creating space, opening up. Just find 2 more breaths right here. Tuck that chin. Soften the shoulders. One more inhale right here, and the next exhale finds those hips shifted back. Lengthen that front leg, toes pointed up towards the sky. Inhale, drawing the heart forward, lengthening through the spine, and exhale to come, again, any amount closer towards that right leg. Or maybe not even closer at all, just allowing yourself to be here right at your edge. Couple more breaths here. Maybe your imaginary balloon is in your hamstring or your hip. Breathe into those areas of tension. Exhale to release. Next inhale finds you shifting forward and drawing that right knee in line with the left. We'll go ahead and just nothing fancy, flip right on over to the back. If you've got a ponytail in or something like that, you might want to move it aside so that the skull can come down to the mat here. And we're going to bend the knees and take the soles of the feet to the floor. And you might want to walk the feet out a little wider than hip distance from one another. And we're just going to open the arms up out into a T shape. Palms can be up or down, whatever feels best in your shoulders here. But we're going to windshield wiper those knees from side to side. Inhaling right here in the center and exhaling those knees over towards the left. And then we'll inhale back up to center and exhale towards the right. And then as you move the knees towards the left this time, maybe gaze out across your right hand. And as the knees come to the right, maybe gaze out across the left hand. And we'll just go back and forth, getting a little movement in the neck and in the hips, a little massage across the back of the skull here. Let it be luxurious, focusing on that feeling of massage in the low back. Next time the knees and gaze come up towards the sky, we'll hug the knees in. Maybe invite the nose towards the knees, bringing yourself into as tight a ball as feels good to you. Just realigning the hips and the neck and the spine. And then we'll go ahead and bring the feet back down to the floor. And let's just take a figure 4 here, opening up a little bit more in the hips. So nice and gentle, just hug that left knee in towards the heart. And we're going to take the left ankle to the top of the right thigh. So here's our
figure four, you might want to just stay here, maybe even use that left hand to press the left thigh away a little bit, opening up through the hip a little more. If you want a little bit more of a stretch here, you can lift the right foot from the earth and thread that left arm in the space created by the thighs, interlacing those hands behind that right thigh. You can stay nice and still here, just breathing into this left hip. Or if you want to find a little more movement here, as you inhale, you can press that right thigh into your interlaced fingers. And as you exhale, you can use the hands to draw the thigh closer to the heart. Notice how that changes the sensation in the hip, the outer left thigh, that IT band. So whether you're in stillness or finding movement here, find that balanced breath. The next time you inhale, go ahead and press that sole of the right foot up towards the sky, finding extension in that right leg. And then we can point and flex the foot. If pointing the foot causes cramping in your calves, you might press into the ball of the foot instead, kind of making those high heel shoe foot positions here. So either pressing into the ball or pointing the toes. And then make some ankle circles in one direction and then the other. One more inhale as we flex here. We'll go ahead and spread those arms out wide into a T. Inhale once again, and as you exhale, just keep those legs right where they are, but we're going to let the sole of the left foot come over towards the right, finding a figure four twist here. If this doesn't feel good, just unravel the legs and stack the right leg on top, or stack the left leg on top of the right, knee stacked, ankle stacked. We'll just stay here for a breath or two. And I've got a wall back here behind me, so I'm not quite all the way down towards the side, but you get the gist. And when you are ready to come out, let's unravel the legs. Everybody stacking the left leg on top of the right, bringing the knees and ankles together. We'll inhale both knees up towards the sky, come into a nice little hug again to realign the spine and the hips. And then we'll just draw that right knee in towards the heart, setting the sole of the left foot down on the mat. And when you're ready, we'll take that right ankle to the top of the left thigh. We'll just open up through that right hip again, maybe using the heel of the right hand to press into that inner thigh gently, giving it a little bit of a massage here. And then either staying here or threading that right arm in the space created by the thighs so you can interlace the fingers behind the left thigh. And maybe even switch the interlace of the fingers so the opposite index finger is on top, just kind of balancing things out once again. And from here you can find stillness, just breathing into this space with your balanced breath. Or you might find a little movement here, inhaling to press the left thigh into the hands and exhaling to draw it in towards the heart. So whatever feels good here, we'll find 3 more full balanced breaths in movement or stillness or some combination of the two. And after you've found those 3 breaths, your next inhale finds you with that left leg extended, sole of the foot flexed towards the sky here. And then we'll get some movement in that left ankle, pointing or pressing into the ball of the foot, and then flexing, whatever feels best here in your body. And then finding some circles in one direction and then the other. And then we'll keep the legs right where they are. Unravel the arms, send them out wide into a T, palms up or down. Inhale here and exhale to just draw both legs over to the right, bringing the feet down to the floor, finding your twist. You can keep the gaze up towards the sky or maybe out across that right hand. And just breathe into this right hip here, opening up just a little bit more in those hips. One more full breath here. And then we'll stack the legs one on top of the other. Inhale both back up to the sky. One last little hug right here. And then we'll send everything out nice and long. Find a big good morning stretch, getting those fingertips as far away from the toes as you possibly can. And then take the hands out wide, take the ankles out wide, kind of making a big X across your mat or your blanket or bed, whatever you're using for your support today. And we're going to draw the right leg over to meet the left and the right hand over towards the left hand. Getting what I've heard termed banana asana. So you're kind of a banana shape laying on its side here, sort of a little crescent pose. And if you want to go a little deeper, you can cross that right ankle over the left. Maybe encircle the right wrist with the left fingers. And just notice the stretch all the way up the right side of the body. You might notice it in the hip, in the ribs, tricep, the forearm, all the way down into the thigh and the calf. Maybe as you inhale, the balloon you're inflating here is that right lung, really expanding that right lung, creating space in between all the ribs. Let's find two more full balanced breaths here on the right side. Notice where you can soften, notice where you can relax. Maybe it's that jaw again. And after you found those two breaths, we'll inhale everything back to center again. And then we'll find that same X shape, drawing the feet and hands out to the corners of the mat. And then we'll draw the left arm and leg over towards the right. And you can stay right here, breathing into that left side body. Or you might cross the right ankle with the left. Hold that left wrist in the right hand and breathe into the left side of the body. Focusing on that left lung expanding, creating space in between the ribs and all the way up into the upper back here and the wingspan and the tricep and the thigh. Let's find two more full balanced breaths here. And after you've found that second breath, let's come back to center, inhaling everything out long. And then let it go out the mouth or nose with a nice big sigh. Just relax everything down. And we'll come into a final Savasana here. So traditional Savasana or corpse pose has the ankles at the low corners of the mat, arms turned up, palms open to the sky, shoulder blades tucked under, chin tucked to keep the neck long. If this isn't comfortable for you, or you have a favorite comfortable position to rest in, go ahead and find that now. If this is a little hard on the low back or on the hips, You might bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet almost as wide as the mat, just enough to allow those knees to sort of knock into one another and support each other here in the center. And this is called a constructive rest pose and takes any of the tension out of those hip flexors here. And if you don't like the arms open to the sky, you might bring the palms to the belly. Wherever you choose to spend this time, make whatever final adjustments you need to make, and then come back to that breath. Inhaling and exhaling your nice balanced breath. Let's find 3 more of those full breaths here. And you might even have discovered that the length of your inhale and exhale has increased a little bit or maybe decreased a little bit with our practice. Just let that be the case. And after you have found those last 3 balanced breaths, just return to your customary breath, letting go of any control, letting the body take back over this only function in our body that we can control, but that is also an autonomic function, which is pretty incredible. And we'll just soften the skin of the face. Soften the jaw, allow the shoulders and the arms to be heavy, noticing the contact of your back on the support underneath you. Allow the belly to be soft, letting the thighs and the knees, the shins and the feet, the toes all relax and be loose and heavy. And we'll just find another couple quiet breaths here, continuing to soften. Knowing that everything is flowing freely and smoothly, all the blood and the oxygen and the lymphatic fluid, everything is working optimally. And then let's just find a nice big cleansing breath here. Inhale through the nose. Let it go out the mouth or the nose with a nice big sigh. Maybe find 2 more like that. We'll inhale through the nose and let it go out the mouth. 1 more time. And then we'll just wiggle those toes, wiggle the fingers. Rotate wrists and ankles in one direction and then the other, and we'll inhale to stretch everything out long one last time. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet back to the mat, and we'll just windshield wiper the knees a little from side to side with those arms still extended overhead. And when you find your knees on the side that's your favorite side to roll over onto, go ahead and do that. Doesn't matter which side. We're just going to bring the head to the bottom arm for a support and kind of draw those knees in towards the heart and wrap that top arm around that top leg and just give yourself a little bit of a hug here. Knowing that you have done some important work here for your body, your mind, your soul, your emotional and mental well-being, all the functions of your body, taking good care of yourself. And we'll inhale to press ourselves back up to a nice tall seat, finding whatever posture serves you best. I like to finish in Dandasana, staff pose, with the legs extended out in front, the toes pointed up towards the sky. This nice tall spine. Once again, we're ending in this balanced position here for the hips. We'll bring those fingertips out to the sides and just draw the crown of the head up towards the sky. Next inhale finds you lifting those fingertips from the mat, drawing the arms up alongside the ears and the palms together, and then exhaling the hands down to heart center. And in the tradition of yoga, this is where we tilt the head gently and say, Namaste.